Was that a serious question or a serious statement from malignant clown James Comer, that I had Jeffrey Epstein over for dinner, that I accepted money from Jeffrey Epstein? What's extraordinary to me about the clown show on the other side of the aisle is that they lie with impunity on things that are objectively verifiable. And why do they do that? It's because for months, Republicans have been burying the Jeffrey Epstein files. Not Democrats. Our view continues to be the same. We want to make sure that what the survivors have asked for, which is full and complete transparency in order to bring about accountability, actually happens. And Congress decisively and in a bipartisan way acted yesterday with respect to the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. That's a victory for the survivors and a victory for the American people. And Donald Trump needs to sign that bill into law expeditiously. Thanks.
That was not a denial. That was a name call with a pivot attached. A reporter asked Jeffries a direct question. Did your campaign solicit money from Jeffrey Epstein? He called Comer a clown, said Republicans were burying the files, and moved on. He never said, that email did not come from my operation. He never said, I had no knowledge. He said Comer lied, and then refused to walk back the one fact Comer actually cited. That email exists. It was sent to Epstein in 2013 by a firm working for Jeffries. It called him Brooklyn's Barack and invited Epstein to a private dinner or a personal meet and greet with the congressman. If Comer lied, Jeffries had one job: kill the email. He did not kill the email, he killed the question. Hit subscribe, because now watch how this confrontation actually started.
Some Republicans have implied that there's been a backdoor deal made for those Republican votes yesterday on the plastic censure in return for not bringing up a Corey Mill censure. Do you have any response to that? And was there a backdoor deal made?
What Republicans have suggested that?
Mace, a couple other ones.
Yeah, the only thing that I can say is that Democrats are not going to unilaterally disarm. And there's a long list of Republicans worthy of censure. A long list of Republicans. Not enough time in the legislative calendar if Republicans want to go down this road of censuring members or throwing them off committees. Thanks. Back row.
Thank you. A couple months ago, you had done an event downstairs with Jared Golden to promote a discharge petition on restoring some collective bargaining rights for federal workers. That discharge petition hit 218 on Monday. I'm just wondering what happens now. Do you anticipate that that will be called up? Will there be a vote on that bill in December?
Well, Speaker Johnson is required, pursuant to the discharge petition, to set in motion an up or down vote on restoring collective bargaining for hardworking federal employees. And that's a bipartisan discharge petition that will trigger that vote. So we know the votes exist in the House of Representatives. But this is another example of Republicans attacking hard-working American taxpayers, working families, members of organized labor, everyday Americans and middle-class Americans who benefit from union involvement and union participation and collective bargaining against powerful interests across the country. The House Republican majority has been a complete and total failure. They have failed the American people. Life has not gotten better, despite all of their promises to lower the cost of living on day one. Costs have not gone down. Costs have gone up. And the American people know it's because of failed Republican policies. Thanks.
Thank you, Leader Jeffries. Throughout shutdown, you really emerged on the national stage, and President Trump didn't hold back his attacks. I know this may sound perhaps counterintuitive, but it does give you perhaps more confidence that he sees you as a strong opponent, the one who can move the political needle, and will you consider presidential around 2028?
Well, I appreciate you suggesting that throughout the shutdown I emerged on the national stage. I think my mother has done a good job of circulating talking points in that regard. But this fight was always about the American people and putting the American people first. And we're going to continue to lean into that fight, to lower the high cost of living, to fix our broken healthcare system, and to clean up corruption. In the Congress, that is going to start with making sure we prohibit stock trading by members of the United States Congress. And of course, we've got to deal with corruption within the Supreme Court and in the administration, the most corrupt administration in American history. Our focus on the non-governmental side will continue to be taking back control of the United States House of Representatives, because that's the most significant thing that can be done to begin the process of ending this national nightmare that has been visited on the American people by Donald Trump and Republicans. And Democrats are going to take back control of the House of Representatives. And we're going to do so decisively. This whole notion, it was always a fantasy. Some people bought into it. This whole notion that Republicans were going to be able to gerrymander their way into rigging the midterm elections, and Democrats in the House were just going to unilaterally disarm, roll over, and play dead was a fantasy. And I told that to Mike Johnson months ago, directly. This is not going to end well for you. I told that directly to Mike Johnson early, when it was suggested that Texas was going to move aggressively, because they must have us confused. We recognize the urgency of the moment. And in state after state, we will continue to decisively and forcefully respond, as we've done in Texas, in California. We're doing it now in Missouri, on the ground, in Virginia, in Illinois, in Maryland, litigation in New York, pushing back against their efforts in red states throughout the country, and of course, with a decisive legal victory in Utah. So our focus is on making life better for the American people, stopping this Donald Trump-inspired effort to gerrymander the national congressional map in order to rig the midterm elections. They started this redistricting fight. We will end it. And that's the reality that extreme MAGA Republicans are confronting right now.
That being said, just to follow up on that, though, in light of the Texas ruling yesterday, do you worry at some point some of your counter efforts could also be invalidated?
The Texas congressional map that was racially gerrymandered in violation of the law was declared to be unconstitutional in an opinion written by a judge appointed by Donald Trump, who centered that opinion on the corruption and the incompetence and the clear racial motivation of the Department of Injustice. That's the reality of that decision in Texas. It was clear as day that Donald Trump and Republicans violated the 14th and the 15th Amendments of the United States Constitution. And then they jammed that gerrymandered map down the throats of the people of the great state of Texas in the dead of night. In California, it was a democratic process that ultimately was presented to the voters in the form of Proposition 50. And I'm thankful for the leadership of Governor Newsom. The congressional delegation in California did a tremendous job with respect to the leadership that we saw from everyone. Nancy Pelosi, Pete Aguilar, Zoe Lofgren, incredible job, but everyone in the delegation, and of course working with our partners in the state legislature, they intentionally leaned into a democratic process that also ensured there was strict compliance with both the Voting Rights Act as well as the 14th and 15th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Very different process. And so the litigation that has been filed, or at least threatened, by the Department of Injustice against the California map is frivolous. And by the way, these people at the Department of Justice are both corrupt and incompetent. So much so that they detonated their own gerrymandering efforts in Texas. And because Texas has fallen, these people are now in full panic mode.
Here is what Jeffries never said. He never said, the email is fake. He never said, Dynamic SRG was not working for my campaign. He never said, I've accounted for everyone on that list and Epstein was not solicited. He said Comer lied. Then he listed the reasons Republicans are hypocrites. Then he walked away. That is a dodge pattern, not a denial. And the reporters in that room noticed it, because they pressed him again, and he called Comer a liar a second time without ever answering what Comer actually said. The email is real. The firm is real. The offer of a private meeting with Jeffries in exchange for a donation to a Democratic fundraiser, that is in the document. Now watch what happens when the follow-up lands. Here is the problem Jeffries has right now. He spent months demanding full Epstein transparency. He voted for the bill. He criticized the DOJ's partial release as falling short of the law. He built his entire posture around, we want the truth, Republicans are hiding it. And then the files came out, and one of those files had his campaign's fingerprints on it. He did not handle it cleanly. He called the man who cited the email a liar. He attacked the question, he pivoted to Republican hypocrisy, but he never addressed what the email says on its face, that a firm working his political operation sent Jeffrey Epstein a solicitation offering access to him personally in exchange for donor participation. That is not a Comer lie. That is a document. Now, to be precise, there is no evidence Jeffries ever met Epstein, took $1 from him, or knew the email existed. He has denied all of it. The firm sent the email. The question of whether Jeffries authorized it remains open because the firm has not answered and Jeffries has not explained it. But here is the damage. When you build your brand on transparency and accountability, and then you respond to a question about a documented email with rage and deflection instead of a straight answer, you own that clip. That dodge follows you. And the people watching it are not naive. The Epstein files are not done. More is coming. And every time Jeffries calls for full transparency, someone is going to play this press conference back. If you want this tracked as it unfolds, subscribe, because this story is not finished.